And we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hi there, guys. How you doing?
What is today? Today is Friday, right?
Yes, Tony. Today is Friday.
So
I
I
know.
have no concept of time.
Exactly. That's because you party too hardy.
It's probably.
We're starting at 5, of course. It's a little early, so we're not going to get into any stories. We're going to wait until other people pour in. If not, we'll start.
Yeah.
But anywho,
Welcome, everybody.
welcome. So I'm glad everyone is doing well. It's towards the end of the week. It's the weekend. You can start partying, I guess, now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do for your weekend, Tony?
Well, I'm going to order myself a pizza tonight, and I am going to probably play Elden Ring more. Apparently, there's more that I got to play. I saw some weapons that I didn't get in my first
I sure
3
had the same.
playthroughs. Hey, Grandma. Hey, BC. And I need them all. I'm thinking about starting a new character for the DLC.
Bro, you are addicted to that game.
Well, considering the video games we talked about earlier and the video game that we'll be talking about now, no wonder I like an RPG like this. Does that make sense? Like,
Makes
it's not,
sense.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're BC Grandma Share. We're gonna start in about 2-3 minutes, but we're gonna just talk and chill for a moment before we get into the story, so people don't miss the part. Because we're gonna touch upon a little bit on Syria a little bit. Tony's gonna talk about a fundraiser for the people, the victims there, and a little bit talk about a little bit about Syria, and then we will get into the game Atomic Hearts as the main topic of the video of the live.
Aye.
So we will be talking about in 2 minutes. Right now, if you want to say anything, say hi.
Hi.
What are you guys doing for your weekend? By the way, BC Grandma Sherry, chilling. Probably chilling.
Just y'all keep safe out there.
Yeah, it's crazy out there, man. It's fucking nuts. Absolutely nuts. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I heard Soothbomb's having issues with her computer a little bit. Hopefully her computer will start working a little bit more efficiently. We gotta see how that works. I mean,
Does she need any help?
Oh no, she's fine. She's fine.
Oh,
she's like
fine?
all technical issues. Can we throw lasers over Hawaii and Alaskan objects? I don't know what you mean by that.
Over Hawaiian and Alaska. Are you talking about
the balloons?
Well, they just shot down another aircraft, but it was in Alaska. I don't know what it was, but there's apparently objects coming into the United States. It wasn't confirmed if it was a spy. Like I can't confirm if it's a spy balloon or not. But yeah, things are happening. I don't know what, but I do recommend nobody panic. Keep an eye on the news and just live your life.
Yeah, I did hear the Chinese are demanding their balloon back, and their social media is basically stating, "Oh well, it's a civilian balloon, and the civilians want their balloon back." So they're trying to say it's a civilian balloon.
That's not. We all saw the satellite on that thing. That's not a civilian. No. Like at first glance, if you look at it, it looked like a weather balloon, and it was built like a weather balloon, but it was built tougher and stronger to hold that satellite part on it. It was literally a satellite on a balloon.
BC, I would say we're going to go into historical facts of we're going to play video, but we're also going to go like a little bit of historical facts. The Holodomor. If you don't know about the Holodomor, you will find out a little bit today. Today is not going to be like drama though, Texan. It's not going to be drama, YouTube drama. It's basically they talk about the video game. A little, beginning we're going to talk about Syria, and then we're going to talk about a video game and talk about, is it propaganda? Where is the money going? Should you buy and play this video game? Is it like BioShock? Which, if you ever played BioShock, great game, but it's a criticism.
We have it on the channel. If anybody wants to see BioShock content, I played all 3 games with DLC. It's on the channel, so just click the video tab.
Yeah, it's definitely that balloon is definitely Billy's backyard project. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, it did interfere with air travel there,
Yeah.
especially in Alaska. They have a lot of independent residential airplanes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that
Like
makes sense.
normal people like me and you who know that have a a fly license.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
But apparently this has been happening even during the Trump administration. So
Well,
it's so this has been happening for a long time. We're
yeah,
just finding out, so people are
well,
paranoid. Don't be paranoid.
yeah, basically what was happening, and this is what I've heard from
Thank you,
news. I
Grandma.
know this is a side tangent, but we're going
Mhm.
to get into the main story in a moment. Basically, the military has always known about these balloons and have been collecting the data that has been projected from from these balloons, and they've been keeping quiet about it for a while now. The problem is the Chinese balloon was so shittily made that it actually went so low that people could see it, and
Mhm.
basically they had to address it. So normally they would just, I don't know, they would just ignore these balloons, grab all the data that it's shooting out, and probably just so they can spy on the Chinese kind of. But yeah, it's kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna get into Bioshock. Talk about how this is not this game Atomic Hearts is not like Bioshock. But anyway, let's get to the story. I think we waited a little 2 minutes. Maybe you want to wait another minute or so, or you
No,
want to
we
get
can
into it?
go. We're gonna start off with the
You go, man.
Syrian. Okay, you good?
Yeah, you go.
Okay, okay. We're gonna start off with the Syrian, Turkey earthquake, a natural disaster that happened about 21,000, more than 21,000 people have been affected in this. 21,000 people have died from this. But there's one particular story that stands out. Not saying any of the other ones, their stories do not matter, but this one gave us a little miracle. Now, we all know the earthquake hit, destroyed so much property, and taken so many lives. But there was a pregnant mother who was sadly taken from this earthquake. She was pregnant. She went into labor and she had a baby. The baby was found a couple days later. Now, I don't know I didn't know anything about this, so I do want to give a shout out to David. He's one of our supporters on Facebook for sending me the articles for this, especially this one that you guys are seeing now. This is the little baby. She was found safe and sound, healthy in the rubble. Small miracles. And when we get to miracles,
Yeah, as I understand, it was like a 7.8 magnitude earthquake that hit there, right? Multiple shock,
yeah,
aftershocks. Yeah,
yeah, it was it's horrible. They're still going through it. It's really devastating. Um, that's why we have it linked up on the top there, is where you can go donate. The money goes directly into Save the Children. It's to help the families and the children there. You can donate or you can share the link. Any little bit helps, and I do appreciate that, especially when it comes to this little baby here who is named Aya, which
mm.
means in Arab, um, miracle.
Oh
So
wow.
she's literally a miracle child. And, with all the devastation, you see a little shine of hope right here. And it's so sad that her mother was taken and, all these lives were taken. But there's something we can do, even if it's just like $2 or $5. Please
Yeah,
go help. And if you don't like this foundation, by all means, I encourage you to please look up a foundation that you think that can help and donate to them. I do not want any money, so no linking my PayPal, nothing. I want anything that you would give me and Belial to
well, I
them.
don't got anything about
Well, yeah.
it.
Mostly the donations go to the upkeep of it, but
Yeah,
but whatchamacallit, just please anything, even if it's just sharing a link, do it. And I hope this little baby and seeing her, she has so much hair. Look at that hair. Beautiful
yeah.
baby.
It's also like really rough. There is like a lot of people are homeless basically
Oh,
now.
yes. There's a lot of people who are homeless. I know we have some government aid going there. I know that there's some help going. There's sanctions and stuff, so there's a lot of red tape. But they are helping. The American government is trying to help.
Yeah,
But you can help and go look up a foundation to help. But I hope this little baby gives you a little bit of hope with
Yeah.
this horrible news, because when you see that little baby, you can't just, you gotta, the one thing that nobody can take away from us is hope. We only
Yeah.
have the power to take that away from ourselves.
And I also seen Hassan Piker doing live streams trying to raise money. I think he's raised a lot. I think like $300,000, I think, or
Oh,
more.
good for him.
Very good for him. I like the, even if I disagree with a YouTuber or a Twitch, if you're doing it for a charity, I'll just, I think you did very
Exactly.
good. And some people are being a little petty, attacking him. I'm like, listen, guys, can you guys just put aside the pettiness and just say the guy did a good thing? He raised money to help people.
Yes.
$300,000 is a lot of money.
Yes, that can help a lot of families, a lot of kids, because a lot of people were affected in this. I don't care what your political stance is of Syria. People are dying, and let's be humane. That's it.
Yeah.
Just be humane. Because you got to remember all the countries that helped us during 9/11. Do you get what I'm saying? Be humane. That's all we have to do is be kind. So I hope this baby gives you all a little bit of hope and maybe a little smile going miracles can happen, whatever your belief is. But I am going to pass the torch to Belial now.
Yeah, a moment. 1 second. What? I'll look at your Discord for a moment. All right.
Oh, god damn it.
Okay. I can imagine True Texan. I've been multiple earthquakes in California. Yeah, it's pretty crazy there. But anyway, we're going to go into Atomic Hearts. Now, Atomic Hearts has had some controversies over the time period. Basically, if you don't know the plot, I'm going to read the Wikipedia because my memory's shit. So rather just read the Wikipedia so I get it right and I don't misquote anything. Atomic Hearts. I mean, you know what? I'm going to play the trailer. Will we get in trouble if we play the trailer or no?
Atomic Heart? No. Well, all the when I was YouTubing it, it seems like everybody was playing the trailer because the trailer is basically the opening of the games.
Okay. So I'm just going to play it while I read it so people don't get completely bored. So they get a general idea what the game looks like. And then while I read, I will put that down. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to play mute. I'm just going to play the image in the background and I'll read a couple of articles about it. So here's the game. So that's the game being played, trailer, no sound. I'm going to read. So the settings is Atomic Heart takes place in a facility 3826, the Soviet Union's foremost scientific research hub in an alternative timeline in 1955. In 1930, scientist Dmitry Sakharinov develops a liquidized programmable module called the Polymer, sparking massive technological breakthrough in the field of energy robotics in the USSR, freeing much of the populace from manual labor. These breakthroughs include a network artificial intelligence called the Collective. That's a little bit different spelled, linking these robots together. Dmitry also develops a device called Thought to integrate polymer into the human body, allowing remote neural interfacing with the robots as part of as an improved Collective 2.0. However, its official launch on 13 June 1955 goes AWire, plunging the facility into chaos. Synopsis. Main protagonist is a mentally unstable officer, a special assignment named Major Sergei, nicknamed P3, sent by Dmitry to keep the facility situation of facility 3826 from deteriorating. P3 is challenging with combat robots and haywire and failed biomechanical experiments. So as you can see, the gameplay looks very interesting. A lot of people have compared this to BioShock. If you haven't played BioShock, it's basically a game that also takes place, Atomic Heart video game by Mudfish. Yes, it is a... So the issue is with this game is that a lot of people compared it to BioShock. Now, there's some criticism that it comes about. One of which is there are a lot of people who are very sketchy about, one, the funding of this game, which we'll get into. Basically, there is a... Let me just 1 second.
I can see why it seems like the engine of the game is very BioShocky
Yes.
and very Dishonored as well,
Yes.
which people like to ignore that game, but Dishonored is very much a clone of BioShock.
But the thing is that I'm reading from an article.
Mhm.
Atomic Hearts will be released February. It's a Russian game backed by ex-Gazprom. Recently, PC Game Release List, the most awaited games coming out this year, Atomic Hearts. Top the collection being described as one of the most awaited game curiosities over the years. The game title is indeed arousing. Some curiosity, which is, however, not about it if it will be a Soviet punk Bioshock, as shown in teasers. Now, it looks kind of like that, but the issue goes into it's kind of celebrating the Soviet Union. Basically, let me show you this article here.
And they actually put BioShock into the description?
Yes.
Tacky.
So basically, this is the article. Now, let me just close.
And this isn't an indie game either, is it?
No, it's not an indie game. It's run by the Russian government. So basically, let me just
Thank you, Grandma. And hey, Sleuth Mom.
Hi, Sleuth Mom. So basically, what's the situation is that make Soviet Union great again, or what's wrong with the game? So Atomic Hearts, it says here, Atomic Heart is positioned by the developers as a Bioshock in the USSR. Describes the events of the term history. I read that before. The protagonist of the game is a KGB major. Now, a lot of people have linked this to a little bit like he kind of looks like they were saying like this is like a Putin, basically, because Putin is also from the KGB. And
do you see his face? Because in the Bioshock games, you don't see his face except Booker.
Oh, you see his face. They have a picture of him on the cover.
Okay.
KGB major. The game seems to show the Russian military and KGB in neutral or favorable light. The party in honor of the game was held in the design. Now, this is also where they got a little controversy. Let me just put the picture here.
Mm-hmm. Is he wearing a shirt? Who?
Yeah. Now, this is the opening for the game, right? And they made it look like an old Russian style thing where like the party, everyone was celebrating.
The Ritz.
Yeah, just like old communists. It says Atomic Heart is critical of the Soviet regime. Meanwhile, Atomic Heart Party, glory to the Soviet engineers, comrade, join the society of tomorrow. That doesn't sound like a Bioshock criticism, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. See, this is the thing, too. If there wasn't ties into the Russian government with this game, I would say it's a game, play it. I don't give a shit. But since there's ties into it, it's a totally different, outlook.
Well, he is wearing a shirt. That is a good point there. He is wearing a shirt.
He is, yeah, he is, and there's no horses around.
There's no horses. Maybe there's a robot horse in the game, maybe.
Ooh, Bioshock had one.
Could be. Who is behind Atomic Hearts, and who is behind Atomic Heart, and what it has to do with the pro-Kremlin institutions? The game is developed by Mudfish Studio. On the website of the studio, there is currently no mention of the fact that it is a Russian game developer. The story of the company begins with its launch in 2017 by a team of like-minded people in Cyprus. At the same time, the studio has mentioned as a Russian one with an office in Moscow. In Russian gaming and IT medias a few years ago at DTF 2019, there was even a report from Moscow office of a studio where, according to publication, about 30 people worked at that time. On LinkedIn, you can find the profile of the founder of the studio, Artem Galiv Robert, and Bagratini and Ulag Haradishinin. Nick, you're going to kill me with the names. Nick laughs at me when I mess up people's names. They are from the Russian Federation. Bagratini is a former top manager of Mail.ru. The investors of the studio are Chinese Tencent, which, by the way, Chinese Tencent is a communist owned company, basically. They basically also own Epic Games, Tencent. They're part of it. Basically, all your data is basically being given to the communist Chinese government. And also, earlier in this game, I read for this game, Atomic Hearts, they had a thing where it said that your information was going to be collected by the Russian government, basically. So that's not good. That's not good at all. So you might be giving your information to the not only the Chinese government but the Russian government as well if you buy this game.
Well,
So
I promise you, probably about 98% of the people who buy this game are already on TikTok and their information has already been sold. So I don't see a problem with that. It's already gone.
yeah. And the Russian GM okay, so the investors of the studio is Chinese Tencent and Russian GEM Capital, and the Gugin Entertainment. GEM Capital is a Russian fund founded by Antonelli Pali, who previously worked in Gazprom's subsidiary, Gazimir Guset. The studio raised investments from them in 2021. Moreover, some of the internet enthusiasts found Pali's connection to the Russian state institution like Rush AI, Ulag Deripaska, and sanctioned systematically important bank VTM. Mudfish Studio never commented on the war in Ukraine and didn't condemn Russia either. In their recent tweet, developers stated that they do not comment on politics. Now, it's kind of ridiculous that they say, like, if you read this tweet, it says, guys, we have noted the question surrounding where we at. Mudfish stands. We want to assure you that Mudfish is a developer and studio with a global team focused on an innovative game and is undeniably a pro-peace organization against violence against people. We do not comment on politics or religious. Rest assured, we are a global team focused on getting Atomic Heart into the hands of the gamers. Now, when they were actually asked on Twitter, what people are you talking about? They started banning, just blocking people. So they didn't really want to say they were against Russia. Now, the reason why they probably didn't want to say that is because if you actually say that this is not a special operation in Ukraine, and you actually speak critical of Russia, you will go to jail. Not if you will go to jail, you will go to jail. So they have to basically avoid criticizing the Russian government. But
Des, real quick. Hey, Des, in the Facebook chat. Welcome. And she says, how goes it, boys? We're doing good. We're just trying to avoid all these video games lately.
Yeah, apparently there's no video games.
Yeah.
Some sort of political situation.
Yeah.
So what's very interesting about it is basically this game is being funded by major banks from Russia. It is basically a fluff piece about how great the Russian Soviet Union is. For instance, people like to compare it to BioShock. Now, with BioShock, I would say the key difference is BioShock is a criticism of capitalism. It's a criticism of objectivism, basically. In the game, let me just read this just so I can not misquote it. This is from Level Skip. Here's the article so people can read it. Maybe if they want to read a little bit more about BioShock and get a better idea of it.
Let me see real quick. Let me check the chat. She goes, laugh my fucking ass off. What the hell? Since when have video games been political? Which game? Sorry, just got here. Again,
we're talking about Atomic Heart. The issue with Atomic Heart is a lot different than the normal situation, usual. There's ties with high-level officials of the Russian government. Your information is possibly going to be leaked to the Russian government, and it might be funding things that you do not want the Russian government to do, like what's happening in Ukraine. Yeah. So that is the issue with this one. Now, BioShock is a first-person shooter. It's granted by Ayn Rand, which is the objectivism concept. And basically, it's like, you take it to the ultimate conclusion, which is basically like, I would say, eventually, like the weakest of society gets exploited by the strongest of society, and you see like kind of like that's downward spiral in Bioshock. And Bioshock is a game about a first you basically crash, you find this underwater city built by this multimillionaire who wanted to build a
Ryan
city.
Adams.
Ryan Adams, who wanted to build a city that was away from the government so he wouldn't be taxed. And then he would have control of all of his, inventions and his businesses. And he invited all the richest and smartest people around. And it was kind of like a ploy on Atlas Shrugged. Because Atlas Shrugged was basically the same concept. The book was basically the government was taxing all the rich people too much. So eventually a rich guy built a city to invite all the rich and smart people, and they all go to this mysterious little town, and eventually the whole world collapses without these rich and innovative people. Basically, Bioshock made it for underwater, but instead of the world collapsing without these rich people, the world spins forward, but the rich people kind of like just exploit each other to the point of becoming crazed drug addicts that eventually have superpowers because of a snail, I guess, game mechanics.
She says Atomic Heart ? Interesting. Never heard of it, and I'm very familiar with Bioshock. She has to be.
Yeah.
She has to be. She's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
She knows. She knows. But yeah, it's very much Bioshock-esque, but I see that's the thing when it comes to video games, is that you don't know what it is until you actually play it.
Yeah. Now, an interesting video I was watching about this that really kind of sparked me like thinking about maybe we should talk about this as a game, like talk about like should it be like kind of stopped, like people stopped watching it, was this Ukrainian YouTuber called Dirty Wall UA. And it was a 2 week old video, and I watched it, and it gave me a perspective of a person who's living in Ukraine, who's basically now has to deal with bombs dropping and killing his neighbors, children being killed in his country, and all these things. And it kind of puts you into this perspective of should you buy a game from a kind of Russia propaganda, a game that has has some officials who are actually funding this project, and possibly your information being released. So we're going to watch this video. It's called "Why the Russian Game Called Atomic Heart Has Been Banned Everywhere." And obviously Ukraine's going to be, this guy's going to have some biases, of course. Hi, Georgia.
Hey, Georgia.
I mean, obviously he's not really going to like the Russian government too much because they're murdering his people, and they have murdered his people in the past. He's going to mention about the Holodomor. If you do not know, what happened is in the Holodomor, Russia basically went into Ukraine in 1932 to 1933 and killed 3.5 to 7 million Ukrainians. So Russia and Ukraine this is during Joseph Stalin's time, the Soviet Union. The reason why I don't like communism is because they've killed more people than Nazism, especially the Stalin. And celebrating a government like that in a video game, to me, is tantamount of like someone celebrating the Nazis, in my opinion. But we're going to play this video, and when you're ready, I'll play it.
I'm good.
An orphanage in Kiev after I bought a copy of a game about cool robot girls online. So, me enjoying the new video game while Ukraine burns. Like, these are people who are actually, whose brains have been taken over by soft power. And if you don't know what soft power is, basically like soft propaganda type thing. It's basically, it's a phrase that's been termed, I think it was like the 80s or 90s, I'm not sure. And it's basically the ability of a country to use like coercion to basically trick people to persuade them type of deal. I'm just kind of going through my head. And that's soft power. And basically people feel like there's some people that actually think that if you criticize the Russian government, you might not get this game. So make that sink in.
let's get this straight. I don't owe you shit, alright? I'm a regular guy based in Kyiv, Ukraine. I experience Russian shellings once a week. I hate Russia. I hate all the Russians who don't do shit about their government. And I feel really happy when
The Russian robots is basically in the trailer. You saw those two Russian women robots that were dancing in the beginning, the trailer. That's what he's talking about in the tweets.
Ukrainian armed forces are killing them on the battlefield. That's a natural reaction. Natural. I bet you felt the same way when 2 planes hit Twin Towers in New York 2001. And I wonder if you would buy a game from Al Qaeda the next day after the terrorist attack. Because if you would, you're mental. Something is wrong with you. This is not natural. This is not okay. And now imagine that something like Twin Towers terrorist attack happens every single week in Ukraine. Every single week that happens here. Last week, there was a missile strike in Dnipro where 45 people died, including children. Children died, women died, animals died. People were just eating their dinner or supper or whatever, and then Soviet missile, yes, Soviet missile X-22 killed them all. And that's just one day of 1 week. We experienced that through 11 months since the heated phase of this war started.
That's right.
So don't tell me about the tolerance.
Yeah, it's been a year almost. We talked about it way back when, man. Way back
when it first happened. We do have a video in the live section of what was going on because we both predicted. Like, I think I said, "Oh, Russia's going to do something,"
and I said no. I didn't think they were crazy enough to do it, so I was wrong.
But that was the first time you've ever been wrong. That's the thing too, and I think it's because. I think it's because I guess we thought Putin was smarter than what it was.
Yeah.
But he's really not.
But so he's basically outlined that he is biased a little bit because rightly so, his country's being torn apart by the neighboring country, Russia. So take that with what you will.
About this is only Putin's war. Russians are innocent. Listen, did Putin push the button that launched that missile in Dnipro? Did Putin raped children in Bucha? Are these Putin clones on the back?
What'd you say?
Can you explain this? This article here is new to me. What do you know exactly what happened here so people know the depth of this?
Well, I don't know about this. This was actually new to me. I never even heard about this. Army Ukrainian representative of the State Department takes out the corpses of Ukrainian killed mutilation of children. Yeah, it's pretty fucking heavy. Let's just say that much.
Jesus, yeah.
But he's basically going through the whole situation with Ukraine and what it's going through and the horrors that are going through this war. And it's basically going to get into why the problem with the game.
Polling organization Levada Center found that 74% of Russians support Russian forces' actions in the war in Ukraine in a November poll published on December 2nd. The poll found that 42% of respondents strongly support and 32% somewhat support Russia.
I will give a look.
That's a lie.
I will give criticism. Most likely, I would say that's fluffed up, bro. Most likely because they're probably number one going to people who will say yes, and number two, criticism is usually not going to end well with you. With
if they say no, then they're in trouble. Then they're I get you want to look at the numbers and the whole situation. With the numbers aside, the game and the situation is fucking horrible. I would not put a dime or a dollar towards it, but I would not trust the numbers coming out as much as I wouldn't trust the
numbers coming out of China.
Chinese government giving us numbers about the COVID cases. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Russian forces' actions in Ukraine. I'll leave you the link on that poll in the description to this video. We don't see protests. We don't see any anti-war meetings. We don't see riots.
Disagree again. I have seen protests in Russia, but
yeah, they were a lot of protests, and all of them were beaten the fuck up. It was horrible.
So, I mean, I disagree with him that the Russian people are not against this war. I think there's a good number of them against this war. I just think, unfortunately, it's
Speak out or die is basically their
or
choice.
and it's basically like the rich basically run everything, and it's and the military is run by the rich in that country, and it's very tough for those people who really are getting affected to get their voices out. I will disagree with that part, but
Riots. We don't see any type of struggle, zero struggle from Russian people. And you will tell me, well, it's the police, government, army, and all that kind of shit. Let me tell you something. We fought in 2014 against our Putin. Police snipers were shooting at us. 100 people died then. Now we call them Heaven's 100. And we won. Our evil president at the time, Yanukovych, fled to Russia. He is still being in Russia at this point. Using this instability in Ukraine, Putin starts his invasion. He annexes Crimea and also a small parts of Lugansk and Donetsk regions of Ukraine. Y'all know what happened next. If you don't, I can tell you that in some, other video or whatever. So don't tell me that Russians aren't guilty. Every single one of them who is not against the war is silently supporting it. This is not a game. This is not a fucking movie. This is real. So when y'all started to threaten my life, telling me about the death of a missile that kind of flies into my window, phrases about me hanging myself and all that kind of bullshit, I started to ban you. This is also natural reaction, but that didn't help. So I have just closed the comment section, and because I didn't found any reason to discuss anything. Anyways, here is the rule. If you're nice to me, if you're nice to people in the chat, in the comment section, we talk.
so I guess they didn't like his opinion on atomic hearts, and they told him to kill himself and all those other things.
Well, here's the thing. This is also coming from somebody who's living in a danger zone, who I don't know how he's doing it living in Ukraine right now. And there's shelling and there's bombs and there's soldiers. I don't know how he's doing it. And I think any person online that would bully somebody who's legit living in a war zone trying to keep normality, you're a pussy. You're a fucking pussy.
That's such a terrible situation. I can't imagine you people actually like people so mad that he doesn't like the video game that they're literally like, well, I hope you get bombed by a bomb. It's like,
it's
guys,
so fucking stupid. It's the exact same thing with the Hogwarts Legacy game.
well,
It's so stupid. No,
Yeah.
they're going drastic there, but that's another topic.
yeah.
But yeah, it's so easy for us as people to say things online because there's no consequences. Well, there is. There is. You'll get called out on it. That's why there's channels like us and Queen Bee and stuff. You're gonna get called out on it. It's really easy for you to seem like you're a badass when you're typing on your fucking phone.
Yeah.
If you have a reasonable argument about the topic, we talk. But if you say anything about
Gamers for Life based fellow gamer, let's hope our money ends in a caliber on its way to Kiev.
I don't like people like
What?
that. I don't understand people like
Who
this.
would say that?
Yeah, Grandma Sherry, he's literally living in a danger zone. I mean, and most of the people that are making these comments are people who are safe and sound in their mother's basements in America somewhere. I don't fucking understand. The man's trying to make content. He's trying to survive. Do you understand? Like, do people understand this?
Yeah, this is. I mean, this Del Bob needs to be banned from life. Each next shell, please.
Over a video game. It's not even.
Bro, these people are crazy.
Jesus fucking Christ! It's.
So it's also good. He's also going to go into the story about how Twitch has allowed pro-Russian propaganda, and also how this pro-Russian guy is literally talking about how he's killing Ukrainians on his video game. So it is
Really?
me,
Yeah.
about my persona, threatening me, cursing me, or the people in the comments section, then I'm not tolerating that. You're getting banned.
Agreed.
Now let's get to the actual video, to the actual topic. We're talking
Mhm.
about the atomic heart more deeply than it was in the first video. That first video was the bait video. Let's name it that way. Again, I don't have any secret fucking documents from FBI or any other secret sources, secret tapes, and all that kind of bullshit. I don't have that. I'm not here to prove you something. I don't owe you shit. I'm here to deliver a message from all the gaming community of Ukraine. That's all I do here, okay? So let's go next. What do we know about Mundfish and its past? Just a few years ago, back in 2019, the studio was described as a totally Russian studio with a head office located in Moscow. In 2019, there was a big article with a report from the studio's Moscow office, where, according to the publication at the time, about 30 people had worked. Link to this article you'll find in the description below. So just a few years back, it was completely Russian company without any Cyprus offices and all that kind of bullshit. Something happened and they moved to the Cyprus. And that's something.
I want you all to guess what that something is. What
No.
recently happened a year ago that would cause a company to flee from Russia or cut their look like they're not from Russia? I'm waiting for the chat to basically type that in. What does the chat want to say?
What's the question?
The question is, what would change? What would make them change their location from being in Russia to another, like to Cyprus? What event occurred last year, almost a year ago?
The sanctums, the money, wouldn't it? That's why a lot of Russians.
Hi, Queen
Well,
Bee.
well, it's the war, but it's also the sanctums. Like just like what's that guy? He left because he did not support the war, obviously, but also he couldn't get his money.
Yeah.
Is war in Ukraine and sanctions. Mundfish was established
See, Tony got it right. He said sanctions.
Yeah.
in 2017, long after the war in Ukraine started. Like I was saying before, the war started right after the Maidan in 2014. Development of Atomic Heart started after the beginning of the war, but before the heated stage of this war, which started on February 24th, 2022. Mundfish never said anything against this war. Not once since 2014. Not long time ago, Ukraine and other countries started to push on Mundfish for the answers. What do they think about this war? Because they're Russians, they must have an opinion about this war. And they are public company. More than that, they're selling their game in Ukraine. We have the right to ask them that. We have the right to know their thoughts about this war. After Ukraine, Poland and few other countries, but mostly Ukrainians, started to push on them on Twitter. They've posted this dodging thread. Guys, we have noticed the questions surrounding where we at Mundfish stand. We want to assure you that Mundfish is a developer and studio with a global team focused on an innovative game and is undeniably a pro-peace organization against violence against people. We do not comment on politics or religion. Rest assured, we're a global team focused on getting Atomic Heart into the hands of gamers everywhere. We do not and will not condone contributors or spammers with offensive, hateful, discriminatory, violent, or threatening language or content. Just like me and you guys. Look.
I call bullshit on that. You basically have a storyline where the Soviet Union is a paradise in which robots, it's so advanced that they have robots and everyone basically lives a happy-go-lucky life. And I'm suspecting, and then basically something goes wrong with the facility. So you said a KGB guy to go in there to basically save the Soviet Union. That is just like if I was playing Wolfenstein game and suddenly, instead of, the main character being an American, I think with Jewish background, like it being a Nazi guy, a German Nazi guy trying to save Hitler or Nazi, I'm just saying.
Well, this is
Nazi Germany.
Well, let's be real for a second as well. I just want to add to this. Without the ties into it, the game actually looks pretty good. It's the location, the political stance, and where the money's going is what's really turning me off. I'm not going to support this game by all means. And I stand with this guy. What's his name?
It is his channel. I have to pull up the channel because I believe I said in the beginning.
Well, this man in the very
I don't know
very
his
nice
name. I
green
just
sweater.
I don't know his name. I just know his channel is Dirty Wall UA, and I think he's a Ukrainian type of content creator.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's
And he plays video games, and he just basically
this
and
is
he bas-
affecting him. That's why he
Yeah.
said something.
he does like Ukrainian coverage of video games. It's not American, basically, but I figured it'd be a good idea to get a Ukrainian point of view on all this, and I think it's important. But yeah, his Dirty Wall UA, but it's
Aye.
all in Ukrainian, so probably it's not going to be for American audience. Probably not going to find his content because we don't speak Ukrainian, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you guys can put subtitles on and support him. This is
Yeah.
how he's making an income. Go give a like, watch his content. You know what I
But he
mean?
does speak better English than me. I have to say that.
Yeah.
I like how fast you agree with that, motherfucker. No,
Mhm.
unbelievable. No respect. I get no respect around here.
you get some respect. You get some kudos.
Then people started to ask them, which people are you talking about? Pro-peace organization against violence against people. Which people are you talking about? And they have started to ban people asking these questions. They always dodge these kind of questions. Why? Because they're Russians. In LinkedIn, you can find the profiles of the studio founders. All the links are in the description. Artyom Haleev, Robert Bagratuni, Oleg.
Let me hear how he said that because I butchered these guys' names when I read
Yeah.
them.
Right? It's like butter. It's just
All the
like
links
butter.
are in the description. Artyom Haleev,
Alev. Oh, okay. So the G is
Alev.
silent. Jesus.
Robert Bagratuni, Oleg
Even
Khodorishin.
how
They're
he
all from
says
Russia
Robert.
and have Russian
Yeah, like holy crap, man.
He has a beautiful accent.
Yeah, I completely butchered these names, but this
You
was an
did.
article I failed to read the names of.
But
Sorry,
those are the men.
Yeah, those are the men. But here,
passports. Yes, they work in Cyprus, but listen further.
Grandma.
Bagratuni is special here. Let's talk about him for a while. He's a former top manager of Mail.ru Group.
I have to say, if you ever see a guy with a bottle of open champagne with a picture with a jacket like that,
Andrew Tate.
avoid at all costs. Just like immediately, just avoid this person at all costs. I have that feeling. It's just like you gotta.
And he just opened that champagne. He was like, this was not an accidental photo. You can even see the smoke on top of the champagne, you know, when you open a bottle.
Yeah.
Recently, they've changed its name to VK. VK actively supports Russian army through their social network and other kinds of media. They're doing it by creating different pages on their social network. Through these pages, they collect money, the donations and all that kind of stuff to support Russian army, buying drones and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's thousands of these pages, if not dozens of thousands. And it's not surprising because CEO of VK is Vladimir Kiriyenko, son of Sergei Kiriyenko. Sergei is the first deputy head of the administration of the president of Russia. He himself helped to start a war.
That's not looking good, guys. That's not looking good. I'm just saying.
In Ukraine, and then its heated phase with missiles and genocide of Ukrainian nation. Sergei Kiriyenko is always the chairman of Rosatom. Quote, documents show that Russia's state nuclear power conglomerate has been working to supply the Russian arms industry with components, technology, and raw materials for missile fuel, and leading to calls for the company Rosatom to be put under the sanctions. Washington Post article says, of course I'll link it down below. There's a lot to read about the Rosatom and Sergei Kiriyenko
Bushes.
because that man is pure.
Hi, Bushes. I can't. It's like I can't believe how they're all just connected. Like,
You really can't believe it.
yeah, like it's just crazy. Like this video game that everyone thinks is just going to be a video game, but yet it's attached to little oligarchs of the Russian government. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Gaming used to be, back in the day when we played video games, there was no Twitter. There was barely a MySpace. Like there was nothing. We just bought a game, played it, loved it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And ignorance was bliss, but it's good to be aware of what the game, like who made the game and where the money's going
I mean,
to.
I don't think this was a problem like 10 years ago where we had to worry about literally like oligarchs running, like
Yeah.
funding the game so that they can continue their wars and maintaining their powers. I mean, like,
Well,
holy shit.
I mean, there was some things like, 10 years ago, say. I mean, the whole Silent Hill movie, Bockel, the second movie with the director and he's just a chomo. And, R. Kelly thing. Like, there was some things, but
Yeah, but I'm
we're
talking
more
about, like,
self-aware now.
yeah,
That's
but
what I'm saying.
that's not like funding war crimes.
Oh, no, it's not, but it's still, it's still equally horrible. Why would you fund it?
Yeah.
Or evil. At this point, Sergei Kiriyenko is under the United States sanctions. Again, I linked the Verge article about the sanctions in the description of this video. Again, I'm not a Sherlock, I'm not from fucking FBI, but if you can count 2 + 2, you'll understand that Bagratuni is connected to the Kiriyenko family. I can't prove it to you that they know each other, but I think that top manager knows his CEO. I don't have any proofs of that, but something tells me that it's true. Now let's talk about Atomic Heart and the Soviet Union with its rockets. Today, Ukrainian community started to boycott this game because before that, we didn't even know that the game exists, actually. They've showed us some pre-rendered footage, no gameplay, nothing. It looked... Блин.
This is basically when his power cuts off because the constant bombing of Ukraine shuts off power randomly in Kiev. So you're going to see this once. That's why this happened.
I'm sorry my power turned off because of the fucking Russians again. So
just saying, he's very angry about the Russians because they are literally at war with them. So,
Every fucking right to be.
So, I mean, I get his position. I mean, if someone were bombing me, I would probably be very pissed off at them.
So let's continue on. But it turns out that game exists. So why Ukrainians are doing that? Why are we boycotting this game and the Soviet Union? In Ukraine, there's a law that bans Soviet symbols. Why? Because in the present and in the past of our country, there were multiple bloody periods associated with the regime. Here, for example, is the flag of Soviet Union, which is shown by Ukrainian fighters who killed the soldiers of the Russian Federation near the city of Balaklia in Kharkiv region. And after the fight, they found this flag in their belongings. A link to this post is in the description below. I will
also caution, though, and this is a little bit of a caution. I'm not throwing shade on this guy, but you have to be careful of both sides' propaganda. Now, I don't know if maybe like there's a possibility that was put it there as propaganda tool for Ukraine, or it could be that the Russians are. I mean, there are Russians that think it was the good old days, so there's a possibility. But with
there's a large chance.
Yeah. But that's why I say, like, with situations like that, you got to be very careful about the propaganda on both sides. So there's a possibility. So, do I believe that there's a possibility that there are Russians who celebrate the Soviet Union and think it was the glory days? Yes, but take it with a grain of salt always with these situations because both sides are playing propaganda. Even though you might agree with one side, you got to recognize that. Just saying.
To mention a tragedy and a big loss for all of the Stalker fans, for all the Ukrainian gaming community. One of the devs of original first Stalker game, Volodymyr, nicknamed Fresh Yezhov, was killed by the Russians in Bakhmut. Russians who were similar to those with the Soviet Union flag killed him. Rest in peace. We will never, never forget. During the time of the Soviet Union in Ukraine, there were the Holodomor, the Gulag, the forced resettlement of Tatars from Crimea to Siberia, the creation of the NKVD, and then it evolved into the KGB. These structures shot Ukrainian civilians, scientists, and writers. They did it in basements, torture chambers, in death camps. It's all history. Just as swastika is banned all over the world, so Soviet symbols are banned in Ukraine. But the cynicism of the developers is
Now, the reason the Holodomor killed about 3.5 to 7 million Ukrainians. That's what he's basically talking about during a 1-year period. So get that through your head if you can think about it. So that's a long history. This was 1932 to 1933, as I said earlier. One moment. I believe the Soviet, and if you Google it, there is some study, and probably somewhere between 28,326,000 to 126,891,000 people were killed by the Communist Party of the Soviet Union from 1917 to 1987. Prudent estimates of this number is 61,911,000. So not a very great system that should be like celebrated as a utopian society. There's some very bad things that have happened during the Soviet rule. Let's just say that much.
It's crazy because their website has Ukrainian localization. Remove it. We didn't ask for it. We don't want it to be there. We don't want to associate ourselves with this game, with this website, with you. So at this point, you have to understand why Ukrainians hate communism and Soviet Union itself. And not only Ukrainians suffered from it, all the nations, including United States, were suffering from it. That's why there was a Communist Control Act of 1954 signed by Eisenhower. It criminalizes membership in the party or support of the party in any way. Even though this law is still in the books, there is a Communist Party in the United States today. It is incredibly small and it has no influence, but it exists, which is a shame in my opinion. Anyways, let's bring...
I will say that it also led to a lot of bad things as well, that bill, where people were purposely being prosecuted and falsely accused of being communists. I think it was called McCarthyism. Not very good, but just a little bit of details on history a little bit.
Bring us back to the Atomic Heart. Why am I convinced that Atomic Heart is promoting... So
hi, Hippie Emporium. Thanks for showing up.
Welcome.
And I know I'm not criticizing this guy. I just like to correct things a little bit here and there. But I do support this guy, and I'm not buying the game. Basically, you're
no, you're not.
I'm absolutely not buying this game. But
You're definitely not going to see that game on the channel.
Yeah.
No.
Soviet Union and the communism. I'm convinced that they're promoting it, but not against it, because of the setting of the game. Atomic Heart is positioned as the Bioshock in the USSR. The game describes the events of the alternative history of the 50s, where the Soviet Union came out of the Second World War scientifically and technologically advanced, reaching the peak of development with cold nuclear fusion and intelligent robots. The protagonist of the game as a KGB major. Remember, KGB killed lots of civilians in Ukraine? Okay. Devs say that they are critical of the Soviet Union, but at the presentation of Atomic Heart, after the war was already in its hot phase, on November 22nd, 2022, they had a party. They hung banners with the words, "Join comrade," "Glory to Soviet engineers," etc., etc. You can see that on your screens right now. I mean, they're loving it. They're eating, drinking, but in the meantime, their missiles are killing innocent people in Ukraine. It is such a joy celebrating one.
So imagine this. Let's say we use Bethesda as an example, and Bethesda made they created. I'm trying to remember the game. I had the game in my head, but they created the Wolfenstein 4, let's just say, because I don't know if there's a Wolfenstein, so I'm just making a hypothetical example. And basically, they had a party. And to celebrate the launch of the game, everyone wore Nazi uniforms and had Nazi banners on the wall. And it was to celebrate the new character who was a Nazi, secret agent, whatever, and basically whatever they call the Nazis, who were kind of like agents back there. And he was to infiltrate a research facility in Germany. And in this timeline, the Germans won the war, and they're technologically, like, they're advanced now. They're super advanced. What would you think of that, Tony?
I would not like that at all.
I would think that would be a pretty bad
Yeah.
idea.
I mean, the argument too is, as well. The argument is it's a video game, and even though it's tacky in its theme, it's supposed to be a fantasy.
Yeah, but there's like it's saying it's BioShock. BioShock is a criticism of
I hope he sues.
no one's suing. BioShock is a criticism of basically capitalism taken to extreme. It even criticizes in part 2, it criticizes altruism, basically the concept of the greater good. Like, let's say the example of altruism is altruism. I'm trying to say the word is basically, let's say a surgeon had to basically killed one patient to harvest all his organs to save 4 patients. That's the criticism of that's what BioShock is criticizing. It's showing the events like this kind of messed up alternative future, kind of making fun of a political theory or a political thought to just kind of show you what would happen if you actually follow suit with, some added fantasy levels, like, shooting lightning out of your hands and stuff like that. But that's what it is. This game doesn't seem like that. Maybe it will, but I highly doubt a Russian game made in Russia is going to be critical of Soviet Union when obviously Putin is an ex-KGB member. Just saying.
One of the ugliest regimes on our planet during the war in Ukraine. Oh look, here are your favorite sex robots. They also have merch with Soviet symbols and even gaming chairs, which is cringe as fuck. Strictly speaking, Russia destroyed Ukrainians even...
Now, why would he say that's cringe? Imagine if I put a swastika on your gaming chair. If you catch my drift. So, like, that's how I see, like, the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union is no better than Nazis. They've killed a lot of people. They killed Jewish people. They killed a lot of people. So, obviously, I get this guy's point.
Before the Soviet Union, destroying our language, our books, our culture, our memory, everything. They've been doing that for centuries. So now Ukrainians want to explain to the Western audience why we want this game to be removed. You see, if only this game was about the bad Soviet Union, where some brave soldier, destroys it or something like that, like it was in the Wolfenstein, that would be cool. I'd play it. And if the Mundfish were publicly against the war, if they said something like, okay, we're making a game about the bad Soviet Union, we're against the war against Putin, I'd play it. That would be a position. That would be some kind of a struggle with the system. I would think that they're not like cowards, shady.
If they made that game, they would all be arrested and probably put in a gulag, probably. They would all be arrested immediately in Russia right now. I doubt that they would ever be able to make that game. What do you think, Tony?
I agree.
Fucking company that hides from the answers on the questions that Ukraine...
Hi, Burden of Proof. If you missed a little bit, we're going through Atomic Heart's game. Should you buy it? My opinion so far, probably not. And just giving you an idea of, why you probably shouldn't.
Ask it, but we have the complete opposite. They've actually posted the new Atomic Heart promo with skill introduction, where a good communist kid kills a bad capitalist, and that capitalist looks like the British capitalist or United States capitalist. I don't know. The message is like communism is good, capitalism is pure evil. But what did they just say on Twitter? We do not comment on politics or religion.
Wow, that's pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah. So let's talk about the publishers. We've talked about the VK before, so you're kind of familiar with the Sergei Kirienko and all that kind of stuff. That was the first one, okay? But there's 2 more. The second one is the Asian publisher, and I don't know shit about them. Its name is For Divinity, which is a part of the GCL group. They're located in Singapore. All I know about the Singapore is that it's the country for offshores also, or something like that.
Yeah, it's the country where you offshore your company and try to avoid taxes and shit like that. Yeah. Not great. Not great at all. Let's just say that much. Thank B Tim. If I never heard of this before. Yeah, the reason why I like to warn people, the guy was impaled in his own frozen pea. Yes, that was supposed to be a non-political. This game is not political, guys. Not political at all. It just showed a good Russian kid, Soviet Union kid, killing a capitalist pig with his own pea. But this game is not political, guys. They don't want to get involved in politics. Right, Tony?
Right.
Like, oh my God. Holy shit. Holy shit. I'm going to sound like House of Williams soon. Holy shit.
If you know any information about this company, write me in the comments, because maybe you know something that I don't know. And there's the third publisher, and it's interesting. The international publisher of this game is the French Focus Interactive. They once tried to rob Ukrainian studio Frogwares, the creators of the famous Sherlock Holmes franchise. I think you've played it, you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. They tried to steal Ukrainian IPs. A link to this article is also in the description.
Wow, this is sounding like a great partnership of companies. Really sounding great, guys. So not only your information might be stolen by the Russians, and I'm going to show a video of that too, might be stolen by the Russians, might be stolen by the Chinese government, but there's also they're partnering with people that steal people's IP from Ukraine. Okay.
Description below. And now they are publishing the Russian Soviet Union piece of shit game, all during Russian full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And also this company really loves to publish Russian games when other publishers don't bother to do it anymore, because Russia is too toxic for your reputation these days, but not for Focus Interactive, of course. Focus is a very cunning and smart publisher. They've divided the publishing rights of the game between themselves and VK Play, we talked about before, so that they could say something like this: look, we don't publish the game in Russia, only in the rest of the world. In Russia, it's VK Play, not us. Alright? This is a smart decision in order not to take responsibility and to look good in the eyes of the Western audience. Focus Interactive also operates freely in Russia and distributes games to Russian bloggers, including those who publicly support the war in Ukraine. You'll see that when Atomic Heart will be released. All of them are gonna play it, promote it. In between the sessions, they will support.
That's a Twitch streamer that has the Russian symbol on his chest. Thanks, Twitch.
Yeah.
Great that you ban like people that have like moderate views, but you let like crazy extremist on your platform. Fantastic, Twitch. We're gonna watch a guy who basically celebrates Ukrainians dying for a Twitch stream.
Russian army, collect donations and all that kind of bullshit for drones, for I don't know for what. So as this dumbass on Twitch.
Yes! Ура! Зи! Это Z, это победа, это Ви!
That picture up there is the president of Ukraine, apparently, and he is playing a game where he is fighting Ukraine with Russian military. And it says, while the Ukrainian defended the city of Lviv with tooth and nail, they were unable to stop advance as our forces continued to march into the city. We were able to find Stefan Bandera monument. Bandera, the Ukrainian hero who collaborated with the Germans during the Second World War, committed several acts of ethnic cleansing against the people. The KGB dealt him justice, but his legacy lives on. The ignorant Ukrainians still praise him, hail him as a hero. Obviously, this is pretty propagandist and pretty fucking crazy. And they have this guy on Twitch.
Своих, блядь, не бросаем! Nazi pigs don't deserve to be remembered.
Twitch, are you fucking crazy? What the fuck is this? We've actually sent multiple reports on this fucking asshole, and
what do you think of that, Tony? As you play video games, do you think that's a good idea for Twitch to have that guy on the platform?
No, but trying to understand Twitch or YouTube or Facebook is just going in circles.
Yes, he is celebrating ZZZ, that the thing they put on the tanks where they're shooting Ukrainians. Yes, he's
Yeah.
celebrating that burden of proof. Yeah, there are crazy people that have actually threatened this man's life because he does not like this game. They actually said, have missiles launched at his house. People are fucking crazy. If you thought Molly Golightly was crazy, the people who support this game are pretty fucking crazy.
They're probably fans of Molly
They're
Golightly.
probably all fans of Molly Golightly.
And I don't know, did they respond or I don't know what happens. I have to check on that, but we've sent multiple reports on that dude because it's just crazy. He's literally sitting over there playing Paradox game, killing Ukrainians on the map and saying that we're collecting money for the war in Ukraine. And that
Yes, all the money that he gets, he donates to the Russian army as well. So fantastic work, Twitch.
is live on Twitch. And his audience is like 30,000 viewers or something like that. So
He's got 30,000 viewers live.
Mm-mm. I'm not surprised. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I'm not fucking surprised.
That just blows my mind.
But
That
mind
just
you,
blows my
you know-
mind.
But mind you, his main audience is most likely
Russian.
Russian.
Yeah.
So therefore, and kids are watching too as well. You got to think Twitch is consists of a
That
bunch
makes
of
it any
kids.
better.
No, it doesn't make it any better, but I don't think they quite understand at a young age or grasp it.
I mean, they
Of
got to get
what's
that
going
Russian
on.
propaganda early on, guys. You got to get that Russian propaganda, and yeah.
You got to think for kids. Again, when we were kids, ignorance was bliss. Do you get what I'm saying? Like we didn't know the political things behind how Grand Theft Auto and Hillary Clinton was trying to take it down, and we didn't know all that. We just fucking played Vice City and continued on.
But
That's how
apples-
these. But that's how
apples
these
and
kids.
oranges. That's apples and oranges.
No, but I'm
How-
just
how is this
saying
even-
that kids don't understand. How grave that this is.
Yeah, until they basically get programmed.
Well, yeah, but welcome to life.
possible. It's like pure terrorism on the Twitch. And the best of it all, look at how Focus Interactive covers the release date of Atomic Heart in this message. A special release date. Remember how I talked about the beginning of the war? The hot phase of it with missiles and children's deaths? Well, here it is. Atomic Heart release date is February 21st, 2023. Exactly 1 year after the Putin speech. Vladimir Putin on February 21st, 2022, announcing that the Russian government would recognize the Donetsk People's Republic and the Lugansk People's Republic as
That was a crazy one. I remember seeing that. He literally was reading Reddit and talking about how the West was trying to send they were going against trans people, they were angry about the trans people and gay people. It was just so weird what Putin was saying back then. I was like, what the hell is this guy talking about? It was just crazy. It's like, is this the leader of a country?
He
It's
was
like we
crazy
can't-
then. He's
yeah.
crazy now. There's.
independent, which led to the new phase of this war. 3 days passed after this speech, and on February 24th, 2022, Russian full-scale invasion started. Now let's talk about the people and companies that are investing into this game. We don't have much info about them, but we definitely have something to think about. One of the studio's investors is the former Russian company Gaijin. What did they do, you'll ask me? Oh, it's nothing. They've just paid the terrorist YouTube channel called Крупнокалиберный переполох for advertising. I'm not
Holy shit, I would have fucking butchered that name, guys.
Right? That was
I
a
would
big-
have never been able to say that name. I mean, I would have never, ever been able to say that name. Let's hear him say it. I mean, I'm just cold.
Yeah.
company Gaijin. What did they do, you'll ask me? Oh, it's nothing. They've just paid the terrorist YouTube channel called Крупнокалиберный переполох for advertising. I'm not kidding. Russian terrorists are actually using this channel to promote their own goods, testing different guns, collecting donations, supporting the war, all that kind of bullshit. Gaijin itself was founded by Russians in Moscow, but then they kind of moved to Hungary and they're located there at the moment. Here's the evidence of Gaijin War Thunder game advertisement being posted on that channel, which actively
Is this a YouTube channel?
Most likely, it's YouTube.
What? What?
Anybody can have
YouTube?
clearly anybody can have a YouTube channel. I
Oh
mean,
my
House of William.
god! Oh my god!
Which I wanted to ask you real quick. We're not going to get too off topic. House of
Yeah.
Williams, who's in her house?
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know who's in her house.
So it's
because-
just her by herself?
yeah, it's basically her by herself.
Okay, that's not a house, just to let everybody know.
Yeah.
That's a shed.
That's a shed. Oh no! Don't make fun of her curtains.
Ugh.
I can't believe this is on YouTube's channel. Like, bro, what is wrong with you, YouTube?
You really can't believe it.
Like, really, YouTube? Like, really?
Cooperates with the Russian occupation forces in Donbass. They've removed the ad actually using some VFX montage things. You can actually see the red paint marks on the video, the edited video itself. So if you watch closely, you can see that. The link to this video is in the description below. The second Gaijin game called Crossout, its advertisement video had been removed from this channel completely, but again, you can delete the internet. Internet remembers everything. Here are some screenshots from that video, you can check it out, a link in the description below. The leader of this YouTube channel is a Russian terrorist called Smirnov Alexei. You can read about him in the Peacemaker website. I'll also leave the link in the description below. Another major investor of the Montfish is Gem Capital. Gem Capital is a Russian company that was founded by Anatoly Paly, who previously worked at Gazprom's subsidiary company called Gazenergoset. Montfish received investments from them in 2021. Gazprom is the gas monopolist. They've blocked gas for Ukraine, blackmailed people for as long as I know myself, and Gazprom is the most active sponsor of this war against Ukraine, if not the biggest one. This is a well-known fact because the company is owned by Viktor Zubkov and Alexei Miller, the closest Putin's circle of oligarchs. There's mafia, murders, gas money. I don't even want to talk about them. You know, this is a world-known fact. And Alexei Miller is kind of similar to Sergei Kiriyenko because they're kind of on the same level in the Russian government. So if you count 2 plus 2, the Gem Capital was founded by a person who was working under Zubkov and Miller in Gazenergoset and Gazprom. Again, I'm just a guy from the internet. I don't have any proofs, I don't have any papers, but man, something tells me that Paly and these Gazprom dudes are connected to each other. At least they know each other. And I think
This is like some sort of intricate fucking web here for this game. Like, is there any like this? Like, have you ever seen a situation where a game literally had all these fucking world like fucking oligarchs in this fucking in a game?
No, but I'm sure there is some that people haven't paid attention to. There had to. have been.
IP can.
If you can.
To up your name pronunciation, this guy is blowing you out of the water. Absolutely, this guy is way better at name pronunciation than I am. Honestly,
Well,
hope
they
you're
speak
having.
the same language.
That's true. So I'll take it as a grain of salt. But yeah, this is definitely. I gotta get like some sort of like speech to text talk thing or something because it's not looking good for me. It's not.
I
looking
always
good.
tell you, use the Google thing.
Yeah, for sure.
that I know where those money for Montfish came from. There's a really good thread on Twitter about him, about Paly. I'll just show you the screenshots and you read about it yourself. Where the thread on Twitter.
Okay, so his Gem Capital. Okay. Anatoly is a young and cool hip investor. Whoa! As soon as you hear that, just run.
Was he the guy with the champagne bottle?
I don't know. I think that was another guy.
Okay,
His
they all
company
looked at that.
GM, his company GM. It's this guy with the watch. You know, they always like the thing where he just shows you his like $5,000 or $10,000 watch he overpaid for.
No.
You know, like when he does like that. That's the only reason why he does it, so he can look fucking cool and show off his watch.
I hate people who use their hands in pictures because they want to look like intelligent. You
No,
get what I'm saying?
why he's doing that? Why he has
I know
his
why
hand
he's
up
doing it. Is he's
to
showing
show
off
off
his
his
riches?
watch?
Yeah. No, but there's a lot of people who touch their chins. Normally, if you see a picture like this with anybody, chances are they're gonna betray you. They're not in it for you.
Like this is like if this was Game of Thrones, as soon as you saw someone do that, just immediately get rid of them. Get rid of them.
I would rather trust Cersei's Lannister than this guy right here.
Yeah. Okay, so it says here, who's up for a fun thread about fun video games, I'm guessing. Though not a true hardcore real gamer, I follow some news and I play in between power outages and Russian missiles. That said, so yeah, I like games. You know, who else likes games? And it says this guy here, Antalali. And it says Antalali is a young, cool, and hip investor. His company, GM Capital, is a very active market player, investing in key areas of games, entertainment, and nanomaterials. Very cool. Russian oil and real estate. Boring. Back to fun games. Yeah, okay. GM is a truly okay. So okay, that's what it says
about him, about Pali. I'll just show you the screenshot.
Okay. But multiple. Let me see. Okay, it says from an auditor to deputy general director in Wink, and for 8 years straight. Yeah, in Russian state gas company, ain't that a large corpo? But time always comes for a hero to make his own way. Come 2013 onwards to the oil. All right, so basically, it's showing a set of tweets. I'm guessing leading into the connections of certain companies with this guy.
And you read about it yourself. You can pause the video and read that. It's really funny, actually. The whole history, the whole career of Anatoly Pali is there. I also have a much shorter.
Holy shit. This is the whiteboard, man. This is the whiteboard.
He has done some digging.
Holy shit.
But rightfully so, too, because this is his fucking life.
Oh my god, this is like the whiteboard. Holy shit. So you got this guy, the guy with the watch, right? You got him, the founder of Gem Capital. Then I guess you got oil companies funding it. You got gas companies funding it. They're all connected. You got Russian AI Corporation a little bit attached to it, under West sanctions since April 2018 as an affiliate. Holy shit. This is all for a video game, guys. Like, this is crazy. Like a video game company. Can you believe this shit?
I actually do. I have little faith in humanity.
Holy shit. I mean, this is like whiteboard.
Version, more compact version of the same thing. I'm showing you this screenshot right here.
Okay, so it says here, Anatoly is seemingly a typical rich boy. Details about his parents and upbringing are unknown, but after high school, he goes for his master's to Lyon 3. In 2002, he gets a job at Paris office of PwC, audits, consulting, etc., to help French companies entering U.S. market. In 2003, he moves to Moscow office to audit local oil and gas companies. In 2005, he lands into the deputy general manager position to head the general manager, Andrei Dmitriev, and Gazprom and Gazin Guset. Dmitriev's name is popping up all throughout Pali story, albeit loosely tied sometimes. It is suspected that after 8 years working side by side at Gazprom's child company, Dmitriev provided Pali, if not with his own money, then with his connections and support to help him establish his own business. Alas, this connection was never categorically proven and or classified, all clues being tangentially or coming from anonymous sources. Pali starts his way with opening of, looks like oil. 1 second. It looks like oil, so I'm not sure. It's pronounced First Oil. Okay, it's First Oil. And later switched over to his name, fully probably due to similarity named British company. In 2013, buying cheaply and consolidating small, unprofitable, stagnant oil assets, aiming to get them up and refurbished to sell for profit to bigger player. His partner are his old PwC buddy Dmitry Zembatuk. Virtually no info on that one. And Mark Garber in role of financial partner. Garber established investing from GHP Group a year prior. But the much more interesting detail is that the same year Palais established his first oil, Garber has already accepted the position of, quote, non-executive director, end quote, in the board of directors at Russian AI or A1, Ulog Deripaskier, alumni giant, could stepped in earlier, but the first documented Google results is this. Bragging to TV Rain Channel, both Garber and Zembatyuk later exited their Palais partnership in 2015, but Gerber has stayed with the Russian AI all the way to the sanctions of Deripaskier actives in 2018. First oil, an entity Garber had, but his money into was bought under Palais's newly created investing company, Gem Capital, in 2016. So right there, we have a high probability that Deripaskier's money, albeit pre-sanctioned times, and were circulating under GEM. No RSP plus points for the fact that Garber and GHP have been sitting for years in the middle of, quote, racket trial about the stakes in a company fiasco, but seemingly never in the status of defendant. Other participants are far less lucky. Supposedly, Dmitriev might have helped establish GEM too, but this claim is even less definitive. He's tied to GEM in more peculiar way through the 2019 Palais sells his first oil to Yukov. I'm just saying. In late 90s, Goldovsky basically controlled an enormous oil and gas state asset umbrella, Subar, after it was privately by Gazprom. Jeez. So he basically, oh wow. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty fucking crazy.
You can pause the video, you can read about it. All the links, as always, are in the description below. So the lack of transparency from the developers, shady investors, and a strong flare of Soviet nostalgia should be alarming for gamers. The popularity of Atomic Heart on the global market, along with the media support.
So what do you think of that so far, Tony?
Nothing.
Are you worried about having to deal with the Russian government coming after you?
No, fuck them. I don't give a shit. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Life's too short to not tell you that they're assholes.
Yeah, I mean, I just couldn't believe it. That's. I just can't believe it. I really can't. There's another video.
You really, like, seriously, everything down. You really can't believe that
$60.
a video game is part of this whole entire thing.
Yes, I can't believe it, actually.
I
Let's
can
go.
see it happening.
This is another channel that's talking about it. Some people disagree with his analysis of this game. I get it. Here. He talks about the economy of this game a little bit better. So let's listen to his part.
Let's talk economics. If you were to buy one and
Wait,
spend
was that-
$60, where would these
Yeah.
Who's this?
This is another channel. I put it in the chat, actually.
Okay. I didn't know the name. That's why I got confused.
Yeah. I'll get it one moment. I'll get you the name in a second. It is Heronco.
Okay.
I posted a link there. They basically cover games, talk about games, basically. So if you're into games, might as well sub.
$60 go? That is a really good question. To answer it, let's look at what kind of companies signed up to be the investors and publishers for Atomic Heart, basically to be the ones who would be taking the large cut in Atomic Heart's revenue. The investors of the studio are Chinese Tencent and Russian GEM Capital and Gaijin Entertainment. Tencent needs no introduction, being infamous with its licensing technique and hunger over users' data. So let's start with Gaijin Entertainment, which moved from Russia to Hungary in 2022 in order to avoid conflict and continue its activities. The head of the PR, Konstantin Hovorun, illegally visited the Ukrainian Crimea, which is temporarily occupied by Russia, and repeatedly spoke in support of the policies and politics of the Russian Federation. But the most interesting sponsor is GEM Capital. GEM Capital is a Russian fund founded by Anatoly Paly, who previously worked at Gazprom's subsidiary, Gazenergoset. The studio raised investments from them in 2021, where Anatoly met and became friends with oligarchs who got rich on oil and gas activities and now have the opportunity to invest large sums of money in various projects. Namely, the export of gas and oil is one of the main categories of income of the Russian budget, the money from which goes to the military industry. And if you know basic economics and finances, you know that all investments must be returned, including interest. Moreover, a Twitter user found Paly's connection to other Russian state institutions, such as the sanctioned, systematically important bank VTB. The game attracted as many as 4 publishers: Xbox, 4Divinity, Focus Entertainment, and VK Play.
Wow, Xbox. Wow.
And this is why we like PlayStation.
Yeah.
Let's focus on VK Play. It is known to be a gaming division of the former Mail.ru, the same Mail.ru who had Maxim Zatsepin as their former top manager. And again, it is closely connected with the Russian government and participates in many initiatives of the Kremlin. If Atomic Heart is being developed with money that originated from sanctioned Russian businesses such as VK and Mail.ru, and banks which are systematically important to Russian government such as VTB, profits from the game could be directed to help the Russian government in its invasion. Thus, by buying Atomic Heart, you would pay money to companies that support the aggressive policies and military actions of the Russian Federation. Lastly, there were some incredible terms of service and privacy policies spotted
This is what I was talking about earlier.
over at Montfish. The website now leads to a 404, but someone managed to capture these screenshots. Basically, it says that your information can and will be transferred to the Russian government, in particularly the Federal Security Service, and not just your username, but your full name, physical address, email, phone number, IP address, and so on.
What do you think of that, Tony? You want to buy the game?
Well, no. My stance has still been I'm not going to support this.
You sure you don't want you don't want to be doxxed to the Russian government?
No, well, the Chinese government already has it, so therefore Russian government has it anyways.
Oh, okay, I get you. I guess that's true. I guess that's true, guys. That's true.
Gotta say, their mobilization methods are getting kinda dire. Finally, let's talk about the game itself for a bit.
This is interesting.
Set in the USSR in 1955, Atomic Heart's story begins as the Soviet scientist Dmitry Sechenov creates an AI-assisted legion of robots that take control of all manual labor, leaving humans free to live a life of leisure and luxury. The main protagonist is a mentally unstable officer on special assignments, nicknamed P3, who is sent by this Professor Sechenov to keep the situation at Facility 3826 from deteriorating. The game is set in a utopian universe where the USSR had won and had a major boost in technical progress. The gameplay is centered around fighting through hordes of various types of enemies, ranging from plain robots to cosmic horror-type obscurities. The game is filled to the brim with USSR-themed keepsakes and memorabilia, from drinking condensed milk straight out of the can to actual flags and symbols of the USSR, hammer and sickle. This kind of approach to the showcase of USSR and communism walks a thin line between using it for world building and praising it. And there are many solid reasons to believe that this line has been crossed completely right into promoting and idealizing the USSR regime and using it as a tool of USSR and Russian military propaganda. And there have been events to prove this. Take a look at this event that people behind
Yeah, we talked about that. Was obviously we talked about earlier.
VK organized. It was a special showcase of Atomic Heart for the Russian press, which was stylized in the game's Soviet aesthetics. And they did not go stingy on the decorations, huh? The event included a dinner in a large banquet hall where you could see Soviet style slogans like Glory to the Soviet engineers or Comrade join the Society of the Future. One of the users in Twitter replies said, Imagine if developers of Wolfenstein
Agreed. That would be fucking weird.
had a Nazi themed party, and I would say that's well said. Sergei Mohov, a Remedy lead gameplay designer, rightfully accused Monfish of being nostalgic about the Soviet regime or even glorifying it. Ironically, the party's date coincided with the adoption of the new anti-LGBT law in Russia, which brings us right back to USSR, I guess. A major point that I want to bring attention to that there have been numerous well-made games with a Soviet or USSR or low-lying Eastern Europe theme or setting. Let's bring some examples. In Singularity, the Soviet Union discovered a source of element.
It does look like Bioshock.
Yeah, well, it is supposed to, but without the actual storyline that actually criticizes the Soviet Union for its terrible
Well, no,
practices.
I mean, engine-wise.
Yeah, obviously. I think that's what they were going for. I mean, maybe we were jumping the gun and maybe it's going to criticize it, but I highly doubt it. I really do. Let's just stop sharing now. Let's get into the final thoughts of this. So, what do you think so far, Tony? What's your thoughts on this? Do you think people are overreacting with the thought of boycotting this game or what?
Well, everybody who's on Facebook already knows my stance when it came to Hogwarts Legacy game. I don't think it's the right caliber when it comes to either you're supporting somebody who hates transgenders or you're supporting a war. I'm going to say supporting a war on innocent people is a lot more dangerous than, J.K. Rowling. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So my stance on that was buy the game. If you enjoy it, enjoy it. But when it comes to something like this, it's a little different. You're supporting a war. And you're lining the pockets to these people. And that man, Dirty Waters, whatever his name is, I support him 100%. And I say, no matter how good the game looks, you want to play a game like that, go to Bioshock. Play Bioshock.
Dirty Wall UA, actually.
Dirty Wall. If you want to play a game like this with the same kind of engine and a better storyline and something, a little politically, but play Bioshock, play Dishonored that has the same engines. Other than that, do not line the this game could have been okay if it didn't have the supporting in the background. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it gets very tricky where you basically have, my opinion is this game is dangerously tied to oligarchs who basically are rich people that run governments that have high position in the government. They literally are funding this game. And also, I feel like your information will be, taken by the Russian government. And also, I mean, you're saying, well, I mean, obviously, this is not going to all go to the Russian government. This is not going to the bombs. But I would say that you're enriching the same group of people that are the yes men of Putin.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Don't support that.
Yeah, and if you're going to support a game that is going to go to the pocket, like money going to the pockets of these yes men, then yes, you are supporting the Russians.
You're part of the problem.
Yeah, the Russians trying to take over Ukraine. This is no secret. This channel stands with Ukraine. We do not like the fact of Russia going into this country. We don't like how Russian people are actually being forced to fight a war that I think the majority of them do not want to fight. I get why this young man is very angry at Russia because obviously he's, I would be very angry if someone was attacking my country and blowing people up, and hurting people. And I know why he's very angry. But yeah, I would say don't support this game. Don't buy this game. Avoid this game at all cost. I know it looks fun, but you know what?
At what cost?
At what cost? Yeah, you got to give up your information and give money to the same people who are yes men to Putin, who are based so you can enrich them so that they can just sell you soft propaganda about how great the Soviet Union is. The Soviet Union possibly killed over 120 million people through its time of regime. The Soviet Union has killed a lot of people. There have been times where they purposely arrested women and children to throw them on an island where they didn't feed them anything, and then the island became cannibals, like literal cannibals. and they watched and they enjoyed the officers. So don't
Mhm.
think that the KGB is anything like Russia. The Soviet Union is not as bad as the Nazis. They are just as bad.
Equally, yeah.
They are disgusting. It's a disgusting regime, and anyone that celebrates communism and celebrates the Soviet Union
Hmm.
are just basically Nazis in my book.
And mind
And-
you, while we all say this, we're not saying we don't. It's kind of like the whole Chinese thing. It's not that we don't like Russian people or Chinese people. It's that we despise their government. So when
Yeah.
we say that, we're talking about their government. The Russian people probably can't say anything, and they have to protect themselves and their families, which I understand because we've seen the riots that they had there right after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen people actually stand up in Russia and try to defend
Yeah.
and try to protest. I've seen people try to leave from Russia. There are definitely a large number of people that disagree with the the attack on Ukraine.
Look at No Fucks. He
Yeah.
fucking left.
No
He was a-
fuckers.
No fuckers. He fucking left, and he really can't say anything because his family is still in Russia. But we all know it's unspoken, kind of. We all know he's not pleased of what his
Yeah.
country's doing.
So, I think that's pretty much it. I'm not going to support the game. This is kind of off the cuffs. I know this game is coming out. I figured out, this channel sometimes plays video games, so we just talk a little bit about it
Mhm.
and discuss, our position on this game. With the position with Hogwarts, it's, listen, I don't care either. I'm not playing the game because I just think the game's boring. But, in the end of the day, you guys do what you want to do with that one, if you want to play or not. But I don't think the boycott's working for that one. I saw
No.
500,000 people, concurrent players on Steam for the Hogwarts one, so I don't think the boycott's working for that one.
No. But I will say this, it's a video game. Do what you think is best. But Hogwarts, the whole Hogwarts, drama of that, I do not agree with anybody going into anybody's fucking chat and bullying somebody over a video game and telling them to unalive themselves or they hope that a bomb comes out. I do not support that at all. And if you're that type of human being, we don't want you fucking around. Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here.
Absolutely. But anyway, I think that's it. I think we basically explained our position. We're not going to make this a drawn out one. I think we've drawn it out enough and put our positions. So thank
Yeah.
you for coming by. Thank you for
Yeah.
rewatching. We're probably going to cover something. I'll think about something we're going to cover over the weekend. You know how I am. I'm kind of think about things to cover. But anyway, have a good weekend. Thanks for watching.
Y'all keep safe out there. Thank you for watching and joining in. And we will see you on Monday.
See ya.